Welcome to Between the Poles, the podcast where we dive deep into the heart of the pole community. I'm your host, Caroline. Here, it's not just about the tricks and the spins. It's about the stories, the people, and the connections that make this community so special. Every episode, we sit down with pole artists, studio owners, and inspiring voices to explore their journeys, challenges, and passions. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get real. This is Between the Poles. If you enjoy this podcast episode, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and YouTube, where we share behind-the-scenes contents, bonus clips, and more from each episode. Morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on when you're watching and listening to this episode. Welcome back to Between the Poles, the podcast where we dive deep into the pole community and meet our favorite creators, artists, and people from around the world. Today on the podcast, we have Kheanna Walker. Welcome on. Kheanna, how are you today?
Hello. I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You are so welcome. I have been following you for a couple of years. I was also able to take some of your workshops, so I'm really excited to get into like all the details for our viewers and our listeners. I like to kind of do a broad, very wide who you are a little bit for people that might not follow you or might not know you. At the time of filming, your social platform on Instagram has a little more than 72,000 followers. You also travel the world, teach pole workshops. You have put on your own cabaret and produced and directed that. You also competed, and you have been an ambassador, and we'll get to kind of all those good things. Is there anything that I'm missing? We'll get into like a lot of the details, but is there anything you'd want to add to this intro?
Um, I'm also a performer. I'm not sure if that was mentioned.
I did not mention that. I said
Yeah, yeah,
contributor, but you do also perform and you have
yeah.
on your own show. So we'll kind of
Yes,
get into like the performance aspect because I know those are like big separate entities. Like competing is not the same as performing. And I want to touch up a little bit on that today too. But yeah, so
amazing.
welcome on the podcast.
Thank
I
you.
want to get started right off the bat. I asked the same question to all the guests that are on, just as like an intro. Can you tell us a little bit how you got into pole? What year was it? How did you even figure out that pole existed? And kind of, yeah, how that good journey started for you.
Amazing. So I started off pole in 2015. I've always been involved in sports my whole life. Sports have just been like that thing that I always went back to. They're really, really good for my mental health. Started off doing competitive soccer. I also did track and field, swimming, synchronized swimming. I did cheerleading as well. So I've always been moving ever since I was a young girl. And finally, there was just one point in my life. I think it was after I quit cheer, and I was just going to the gym, and I was also doing hot yoga at the time, and I just wanted to just try something different. And I was scrolling on Facebook, and I saw somebody had posted a picture of them doing pole dancing, and they tagged the studio, and I googled it, and it was only a few minutes away from my dad's house, which is where I used to live. And I was like, okay, I'll go and try a class. Like the first class was free. So I was like, I have nothing to lose. Let's give it a go. And then I tried my first class. And I just remember after that class, I felt so good and so happy and so alive. And I said to myself, okay, this is something that I definitely want to get good at, because I also, because of my sporting background and my physical background, there were some things that did come easier to me. And but then there were some things that like I was really bad at, and I was like, oh, that would be so cool if I could get good at this. And I remember just looking at my instructors, and they were so graceful and sexy and confident in the way that they moved, and I was like, I would love to look and feel that way as well. So that is really what got me, was just my first free class.
And I guess you kind of answered the question I also like to ask on this podcast because we have kind of not mindset, two different types of guests. People that
Yes.
struggle with lifting body weight and people that were already fit, could lift body weight, but still struggle in other department. And you said like, yeah, because you were already pretty fit. You had a good sports background. You said like certain things came easy.
hmm
I have a feeling that you were able from the start to lift your weight to invert. What was something that was a little unnatural for your body or something you really had to put more effort in?
So dancing for sure, active flexibility. Like I had flexibility, but just that feeling of of being able to like lift your limbs up high, and there was just some form of active flexibility that I did not have at all. And yes, definitely like flowing and dancing in a way that resembles water, just that energy, because a lot of my background was quite like if you think of synchronized swimming and if you think of cheerleading, they don't really even though I believe that everything is a form of flow, there is a certain type of physicality that you do when you're doing synchro and cheer that doesn't if you think about like moving like water, it doesn't have that physicality. And I was definitely struggling with that at the beginning, and it's still something that I'm working on till this day, and it's just part of the journey.
I feel like I understand what you're trying to say. When I imagine like cheer and synchro swimming, I see a lot of like very crisp, very tight movement, like explosions of move, and
Yes,
then like
yes,
keep it back in, like really. And then I know like in pole, we try to make everything kind of seem like one big continuous sequence, which I'm
exactly.
sure if that was your background, that's a big kind of light to turn off and then like something else to work on. I kind of
Hmm.
want to start because right now I feel you're a pretty well-rounded pole artist and instructor. Like you post a lot on social media and we'll kind of get to that, but I see a lot of dynamic static. I feel like that's where probably you spend most of your time, but I've seen you in crazy flexibility moves as well. So how did you get from like the beginning? Can you take us a little bit on like how the progression happened? So you took your first class, really liked it. What are the steps after?
So I loved it definitely. But then after one, it was funny because I did pull for about, let's say, a little bit over 6 months. But then I actually had to take 1 year off because I went to California to do an exchange program. And I just, at that point of my life, I was a student, I was broke, did not have the money to be going to LA. I was staying in LA and do pole regularly in LA. So I took a year off. I remember that when I was studying in LA, I was still always thinking about pole. It was so weird, like when I'd be listening to a song on the bus, I remember I would still be envisioning myself dancing on a pole to that song. And I was like, okay, like this is something that even though I'm not doing at the moment, I'm thinking about it a lot. So when I got back from my year abroad, I was like, okay, it's go time. Like I really like something had switched. So I bought a pole secondhand, installed it in my mom's house at the time, and then I started to like really go crazy on going to classes. Like I remember sometimes I would do 3 classes back to back. So like, that's expensive, especially as a student.
Mhm.
And but I was just like really, really dedicated to getting good, especially because I felt like I was deprived of pole for a whole year. And then I had my first performance. It was a Christmas showcase. And that was my first ever performance in front of a crowd. This was in Montreal, by the way, which is my hometown. And I remember doing the performance, and I had invited my friends and my family, and I really had a good time. Like, I really enjoyed that part of it. And that was when I decided, it was around that time that I was going to move to Australia. I wanted to just do it for 6 months just to experience living in Australia. I had just got my degree, so I was like, okay, this is a good time to travel. So I moved to Australia, and even though I told everyone it was going to be about 6 months, it ended up being 2 years. But it was in Australia that I began my journey of becoming an instructor and a competitor, because that obviously, well, not it's not obvious, sorry, but it is Australia is very, very well known for its pole scene. It's extremely vibrant, and the level is incredibly high. So when I moved to Australia, I really got sucked into that world, and that's when I started to compete and teach. And that is when I really decided, okay, I want to do this for a living. Or maybe I didn't know if it was going to be my full-time thing, but I knew like, okay, this is going to be a bigger part of my life than I had expected.
I'd love to ask you a question on that because I feel like a lot of the guests that we have on now kind of are able to live off of pole for a living. And you said like back then you had that thought of like, oh, maybe I would want this to kind of bring something in for me.
Mhm.
How did you initially think about it? Were you like, I'm gonna start teaching as much as I can to try to get some revenue? Or are you like, oh, I'm gonna compete? Because I know certain competition, depending on what country you're listening this into, for viewers and listeners, the competition do have cash prize. Not everywhere. I'm in Canada. I don't think a lot of our Canadian competition bring in any money, but I've had guests on here that have said that certain competition did pay them and pay them well. So
Mhm.
when you had that initial thought, what kind of route did you think of thinking to kind of at least make pole a side hobby?
I think it was definitely teaching, classes, workshops, and then also the occasional performances, which is pretty much what I do now.
Mhm.
But yeah, it definitely wasn't coming from the idea of winning cash prizes.
Okay.
That wasn't how I thought becoming a pro polar would work. I think it was really from teaching, and then yeah, once again, performing here and there.
I know you nowadays a lot from traveling around the world and teaching those workshops, which are amazing, by the way. I really enjoy that.
Thank you.
When did you go from teaching in a home studio, I guess, like because you were in Australia and I bet you were teaching at that studio that you were training at. That's how a lot of us
Mhm.
kind of start. How did you
Exactly.
go from that to like, I'm gonna start teaching workshops other places? And how did you even build your workshops? Like, how did you take the time to be like, okay, this is what I want to teach. This is what's interesting to me. Because at some point you can burn out, especially if you're teaching things that aren't like super aligned with what's resonating for you. How did you
Mhm.
come up with the workshop package that you have right now? And yeah, when did you kind of make that transition from like a teacher in a studio to a traveling workshop offering pole artist?
So after Australia, I ended up moving to the UK because I was with my ex-partner at the time, and I met him in Australia, but he's Scottish. So then we moved to Scotland together after Australia. So I spent 2 years total in Australia. And then when I settled in Glasgow, I started to teach in different studios in Glasgow. And that definitely helped with getting more confident and more just ready to start teaching workshops. So, what I first started to do was when I would come home to visit Montreal, I would start teaching workshops in Montreal because I was like, this, even though I'm from Montreal, I was still technically a guest because my base was Glasgow. So I started doing just between basically the UK and Montreal, and then slowly but surely with competing, getting my name out there in different ways, I started getting invited to different countries, and then I started to get invited to do pole camps, and then from there I started to get a lot of offerings to the point that I was like, okay, I need help because there's a lot of emails that are now becoming unanswered, or it just starts to become a little bit stressful with everything else that I have going on. So I ended up getting a manager, and then my manager now helps me with building my workshop tours. So that basically took it was, yeah, the span of a few years. I went from teaching just at like teaching classes at a pole studio to then becoming a traveling artist, but it definitely took some time of just really putting my name out there, and then also like becoming more confident in my teaching abilities.
I love that you said that it took a couple of years because once again, I think a lot of people, because I work in a pole studio, I see a lot of like students and newcomers, and they're like, "Oh my God, it seems to happen overnight for some people." And I'm like, I don't think so. I think most people that are like traveling and like really kind of living their life off of pole have put in like years, and I think a lot of us tend to forget.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
kind of wanted to get back to your story in Glasgow, actually.
Mhm.
Because not only were you teaching, but you were also an ambassador and you held a position for a little pole, how do I say, little well-known pole organization. And
Yes, yeah.
I'd love to see, not see, I'd love to hear how that came about. Can you tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit how, what were you doing in Glasgow basically at that point?
Yes. So this was right when I moved to Glasgow. We got hit with lockdown, and that was pretty crazy because I moved there in 2020. So that was like a very interesting time. As we all know, that was also during the time where George Floyd was murdered. And there was a very big moment in time of understanding that like there is a massive problem with racism and also a massive lack of diversity and representation when it comes to people of color, just in the world when it comes to like brands and all of that stuff. So I was really, really affected by this. I felt very deeply and I wanted to do what I can to help. So I started a fundraiser. Even though I didn't really know many people at this point, I started a fundraiser, and this was basically to raise money for organizations that are be that are that sorry for organizations that were helping with the discrimination in America. So I raised money and I also teamed up with some of the studios that were I was working alongside. And Pole Junkie heard about me doing this, and they reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you want to collaborate, or would we be able to contribute to your fundraiser?" So I said, "Absolutely, like we'll take all the help that we can get." So that was basically the beginning of our relationship. They saw that when I we were working together, they liked, I guess, like my I am a communications major, like that's what I studied in. So they liked how I was, I had a Google Doc and I was quite organized in what I was doing, and I also showed that I was pretty good at social media and stuff. And they basically asked me, "Would you be interested in doing a Instagram story takeover?" Just one day where we basically will give you access to our Instagram, and you just talk to us on Instagram stories about your experience of being a pole dancer of color. And I was like, of course, yeah, 100%, let's do it. So I did that for them as well. And then I think after working with me for a couple of times, or collaborating with me, I should say, after a couple of times, they said, "Okay, we are actually looking for a social media manager right now. Would you like that position?" So they offered me a job in social media, and also, of course, in for a poleware company. It just felt like so aligned with what I was doing. So I said yes, and so that was my job that I got to do for. I did that for 4 years,
Wow.
and yeah, so I did that for 4 years, and so I was for 4 years I was working with Pole Junkie as a social media manager, and then I also was just growing my teaching brand, which started off pretty much in Glasgow and Montreal, but then after it grew to different places, and that was what I was doing for 4 years until, unfortunately, things didn't work out with me and my ex, and then after I moved back. I moved out of Scotland and back to Montreal, and that was when I decided that I just wanted to become a full like just become my own boss. So that was when I decided to leave Pole Junkie as the social media manager, but I stayed on as a brand ambassador, which is why you still see me posting and collaborating with Pole Junkie, because I'm still an ambassador. I just don't do that role anymore.
I love
But
how diverse your poll story is. I feel there's so many, I was gonna say little, but not little. There's so many like big things that kind of happen to bring you to where you're at today. It wasn't just
mhm.
one decision you made. It's like a chain of things to kind of bring you to where you're at today. I was gonna say, I love, you're doing great for Bull Junkie because every time I see you on there, I'm like, what is she wearing? And then it's
Oh,
always like, oh, Bull Junkie. And I'm like, damn, I'm gonna buy it.
yeah,
I have a pole wear addiction and you're not helping by
I
posting
know.
reels.
Sorry, sorry.
See, maybe that's like a funny question to ask, but how much pole wear do you have? Because you've been polling for a while. Now you're an ambassador. You're also like posting on social media. You're always in like a really cute outfit. How much pole wear do you have?
I definitely have a lot. I definitely have too much for one person. Let's put it that way.
was gonna say you're always in a
Yeah.
really cute thing, but I don't think I see you. I think that's a lie. I think you have maybe like favorites that you rewear a lot, but I'm like, oh,
Yes, I
that's a
definitely have favorites, 1000%.
and we'll it's a question on our last segment, so we'll hear what your favorite is. But I kind of wanted
Amazing.
also to touch up on a little bit. So we've seen kind of grossly your pole journey. Can you tell us about your first competition? Because I'm always so interested in like how people actually pump themselves up to be like, yeah, I'm gonna put my skills out there and I'm actually gonna try and compete.
Yes, so that was in Adelaide, which is in Australia. I did my first competition, which is called the Australian Amateur Performer Competition. Yeah, AAPC. Anyways, and that was my first time ever, yeah, ever competing. And I remember being super, super excited about my theme because my theme was Mean Girls. So this was actually a very big lesson for me. I thought that if I told the story of Mean Girls in my pole piece, that everyone would understand it. But I actually realized after this experience that it wasn't super transparent. So I used a lot of the songs from Mean Girls. I also did like the Jingle Bell Rock performance, like that little dance. But basically, what I was trying to show was that I was Katie from Africa, and then after I go to like I guess a Western world, I move from Africa to the Western world, and then I become a mean girl, blah blah blah, and I basically start off doing an African dance and I'm wearing an African outfit. And then I go and I take off my clothes and then I'm in a Jingle Bell Rock Christmas outfit. And then people just I guess there are just some people that didn't see Mean Girls and they were like, I don't really get it. First she's in Africa and then it's Christmas. Do you get what I mean?
Yes.
So some people just didn't get it, and it kind of went over their heads. And also the judges, some of the judges' feedback said, I actually didn't really understand the storyline, and then so I didn't place. And I because I lost a lot of marks on that aspect, but people did like my tricks, so I actually won like a mini award because they have mini awards at some of these competitions, and it was called Miss Tricks. So it was just like a little mini award. Like I didn't place third, second, or first, but I got a mini award. So that was like a big learning curve for me, which was like, okay, whenever you're doing a theme or whenever you're trying to convey a message, you have to really make sure that like it's not too niche. Even though I thought that Mean Girls wasn't is pretty global, there's still a lot of people that still haven't seen it or maybe wouldn't have understood like the message. So yeah, big learning curve for me. Um, I- I'm sorry, but I feel like I didn't answer your full question. Can
Yes,
you
that was my question. And then I'm
Okay,
just
okay.
sitting here like flabbergasted that some people didn't see Mean Girls. I'm like, what
Yeah,
are you saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is a point that's super valid. And I kind of always wonder about that. I don't compete, so I don't have to come up with these amazing themes. But it's really hard, right? Like to convey a theme. We're kind of dancing and doing tricks. And sometimes like what lives in your brain and like what you're trying to say, I'm like, how can you bring everybody along? Because yeah, judges on a panel, but also like just people in the audience. Everybody has a different life background. Everybody's seen different things, listened to different things. So I can't even imagine sitting there trying to like think of something that would appeal, maybe not appeal, but that everybody would understand. Like
Hmm.
that's really hard. Okay, and I giving you whiplash really out here, but you won the mini award for tricks. I want to know, baby Kheanna competing. What were the tricks you did in that first competition? Like, do you remember a little bit what you had put in there?
Yes, I definitely put layback to iguana fang, and then I remember this combo because it's still one of my favorites. And then from iguana fang, somehow I take it into a twisted grip Aisha, and then I finished with an Iron X.
For baby Kheanna, those are big
Yeah.
moves.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
right
yeah.
off the
But
bat,
the
you were
level's really high in Australia. Sorry
I
to
was gonna say,
interrupt.
because
Yeah.
right off the bat, you're competing with like moves that are really advanced, right? Like Iron X advanced, like right there, just crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then even though you didn't place and won that many award, that kind of gave you the bug to compete more and then go out on stage more.
Exactly. After that, I was sold. I was like, that was freaking amazing. I want to do that more. It just really gives you a high that is hard to replicate.
I feel that a lot of people I interview now, and then this is me not making assumption, but from talking to a lot of guests, there's a mindset I see in a lot of people that made it far in the pole world. You guys like compete and it lights a fire and the mindset and the discipline I see from a
Hmm.
lot of pole artists that are at a high level. I can't even imagine training as hard as you do, as consistently for for such a long period. And that kind of brings me a little bit on the subject that I would love to touch about. You travel worldwide. And I always find that super impressive that you're able to get on a long flight, be super jet lag, and still teach workshops or compete or perform, like whatever it is going to be that you're going to do while you're traveling. How do you maintain that? How do you prep your body for that? How are you just not like tired? I feel if I take like a 3 hour flight, I land somewhere, I'm like, I can't pull today. It's going to be tomorrow. Today I got to take the time off. Do you have a routine? Like, how are you setting yourself up to be able to maintain that level?
It's definitely a mindset. Like at the end of the day, it's my job. So I yeah, sometimes I might be tired or I might be jet lagged, but that's not gonna I'm not gonna be like, hi, I know that you have 3 workshops booked with me, but I'm feeling a little bit tired, so I can't make it. You know what I mean? Like it's just, it's happening. Whether or not I'm jet lagged, it's gonna happen. Luckily, I have little tricks, little travel hacks that have helped me. So, first things first is I will always now travel with an eye mask. Always. It's in my fanny pack. I have my Lululemon fanny pack. I hope to one day get gifted some for free because I literally wear it with me everywhere I go. But in that fanny pack that I have on me, I have a sleep mask and or an eye mask. So when I'm on the plane, I can really snooze at any point. I also always have headphones. I actually travel with 3 pairs of headphones now. I have my Bose headphones, which are these I'm wearing right now, and after I have two actually like in-ear ones as well, just like backup and then backup. And that I will always listen to sleep music when I'm trying to sleep. So sleep music with my eye mask really helps. If I'm really like hyper, because that can happen as well, and I have too much energy, I also have I take melatonin, which is something that a lot of people take, to get sleepy. And it's all natural. So like I'm not I go with Ollie, which is my favorite brand. And yeah, they're like these sleep gummies and they work really well. The brand is OLLY. I am not sponsored by them. This is just what I take and I travel with these. So that helps with like, if I'm needing to make sure I fall asleep or something like that. I also have to time it though. So like I would never ever take Ollie if I have to be alert in like 5 or 6 hours. That's like that's playing with fire. I really that like I if I'm taking Ollie, I need to make sure that I'm able to sleep for a good 8 hours and still have time to wake up after that, you know? So understanding like what you have coming up is really important. Of course, caffeine helps me as well. So I love coffee. I know that's a question that you have for later on, but I am a coffee girl, and that is just what I drink before workshops, so that helps as well. And then yeah, at the end of the day, it is mindset. Just knowing like like in my last tour when I was doing the US, I had 3 states in 3 days. So like just going to the airport, getting picked up by my host, teaching workshops, sleeping in a hotel and then going back to the airport, like just, for 3 days in a row. Like it's just, that's just it is what it is, you know? And
I have
it
another
sounds crazy
question.
though, but when you kind of just look at it as work, it doesn't feel as crazy anymore.
I also have another question kind of on the same topic because now you said like, okay, you kind of really dialed your routine for when you are like on airplanes and when you're trying to at least give your body some rest that I'm sure
Hmm.
it needs. How much training for yourself do you do when you're on tour? Because you teach a lot. That counts as being active. Because I have hosted you at my studio for listeners and viewers, and for people that maybe haven't taken ever like a guest workshop, there's a lot of demos that you're doing. There's a lot of tips and cues. So sometimes you're like, okay, here's the first move, demo, talk about it, demo again. And then you're like, maybe for people that will have this, or this limitation or difficulty, here's a progression, here's a regression. It's really full on for you, like
Hmm.
in your body. How much training for yourself are you doing during your tours? And any kind of tips or self-care that you enjoy like physically to keep your muscles kind of not too sore all the time.
So when I'm on tour, depending on the schedule, if it's like a lot of workshops, then after I won't be training much for myself. I'm really just dialing in on teaching. However, there are some days where, or some tours where I'll get a few days off. So if I'm getting a few days off, I'm training. So like depending on what's around me, because I always have to adapt. If I could either, if I'm like staying in a hotel, I go to the gym downstairs. Or if the studio that is hosting me is available, I'll go to that studio and I'll train. But like normally I like to move 5 to 6 times a week. So like if I am on a tour, and let's just say I'm teaching workshops only maybe 4 days that week, maybe one of the days I'll go and just do my own training. And then depending on what's around me, that's what I choose, if that makes sense. But like I just truly believe in just in moving a lot. So yeah, once again, 5 to 6 times a week, I'll take yes, I take days off. Days off are super important. And if I'm feeling super sore, then like maybe I'll add an extra rest day. In terms of soreness, I really do try to do use the foam roller. That's something that I do a lot. Of course, stretching helps as well with just feeling just more mobile. Like if I don't stretch, I feel extremely tight. So just stretching a lot helps. Just the other day, I booked myself a massage because I was feeling super tight. So I got myself a massage, and that helped a lot as well. Yeah, those would be like my like not my top three things of self-care. Even just like, going to a yoga class, but not going super hard. So, because sometimes I know I want to move, but I want to be gentle.
Mhm.
So I'll book a yoga class, and I'll make sure not to go with like the advanced dude, because I there's one guy that like when I take his classes, I go so hard. I end up like trying all the arm balances, and next thing you know, I'm more sore than I was, before even taking the class. So then after, maybe I'll go with a more of like a gentle instructor, and I'll just like really just relax in these poses, or like book a yin class. For yin yoga is when you book really long, or when you do very long poses and long stretches. So yeah, I think it's really important just to know your body, listen to your body. Also, as a woman, I try to be in tune with my cycle as well. So when I'm on my period, I will definitely try my best, if I can, to be a little bit more gentle. So that is generally towards the end of the month. I try to be more gentle. It's not always going to be the case. This month was not the case because I had a performance a few days ago in Montreal. So I'm not going to go gentle. Well, this is my mindset. If I have a performance coming up, whether I'm on my period or not, I'm going at it, So I was not gentle at all. But on a typical month, if I don't have anything towards during that week, I might, dial it down a tiny bit. So be just really trying to understand your body, and then once again, it's always just that discipline of knowing, or for me at least, is that I just need to be moving 5 to 6 times a week, and not every single session needs to be crazy difficult. Some of them definitely do. If you can have like maybe like 3 to 4 like intense trainings per week, great. And then after a couple, 2 to 3 can also just be more relaxed, more for maintenance. Then that's a good balance to strike.
That's amazing advice. And then it kind of brings me to another question because you say, like, oh, I move my body 5 to 6 times a week. I want to get into a little bit. Now you're also the owner of your own platform. So I
Mhm.
want you to tell us a little bit about it, but also how are you allowing time in there? Is that because okay, tell us about your platform. I'll ask other questions after.
Amazing. So I have an online training platform where basically the whole idea is that you can subscribe to this platform and then you get access to a whole library of on-demand classes. So there's over 300 classes now that you can take that are taught by either myself or a massive lineup of global instructors because I bring on instructors from all around the world. So you can really just get access to like people that are amazing in heels, amazing at floor work, incredible at static. Like it really is just it's supposed to give you diversity in regards to pole training. And then on top of that, there's even like off the pole training that you can do as well. There's conditioning, there's flexibility training too. So it's not just pole. And yeah, so what in terms of my platform, I always try to make sure that every month the lineup is diverse. It's giving a lot of different things that you can work on. And depending on also my schedule and my touring and stuff like that, I will then that's how I build the schedule. So just to give you an example, next month, I should say that's this month, happy July 1st. Tomorrow I'm leaving to go and do a little bit of teaching, but also traveling. So I'll be gone for 3 weeks. Which is why that's 3 weeks of guest classes because I when I'm away, depending on what I have access to, I'm not going to always be able to teach on my online platform. So that's why I bring on other instructors. So I'm going to be teaching at a retreat in Italy, the Sunrise Pole Retreat. And then after that, I'm going to go to Berlin and I'm going to do a little bit of travel in Berlin because I've never been there and it's high on my bucket list. So for those weeks, I'm not teaching at all. And then after that, I'm still deciding I'm either gonna go to London and then teach some of my online classes in London because I have a studio that I hire, Aquila Pole Studio. I hire that studio to teach from teach online, or I'll just come back to Montreal and then after I'll teach online from here. So yeah, that's kind of how I build it. So it's really important that when I'm building the schedule, that I know what I'm available for. So and then if there are some months where I'm not doing any travel, then after you might get a whole month with me, which that's like the beauty of it. Like it's like the whole idea is move with Kheanna. You're either moving with me or you're moving with other instructors, but there's always going to be high level classes or sorry, not high level. There is high level, but then there's also beginner classes as well, intermediate classes. So you'll always get a variety of classes to do whether you're with me or other people.
I was gonna say it's a really cool platform. I have taken it multiple times. I've
Hmm.
done because
Thank
you
you.
also offer master classes in there
Yes.
where you take more time to break down. So I did some of those. I also took one of your guest classes because I just really enjoy that guest heels, and I was like, I
Nice.
want to learn. So I was able to do that. You also
Whose guest
offer
class did you take? Do you remember?
no.
No worries, that's
I
fine.
just saw her and I was like, "Oh my God, I wanna" like, yeah, anyway, the choreo
Yeah,
was amazing. I will
nice,
remember, I'll go back and, I'll put it in the caption for viewers and listeners because you can
nice.
have access to those class if you go on your platform, so you didn't miss out. You can still, go on the platform and do the same choreo as I took if you wanted to, but you
Hmm.
also offer, like you said, off the pole because you offer conditioning and you also offer, should I call it, like, mobility, stretch, like
Yes.
those kind of things. So it is a very, very diverse platform for people. There's like a little bit of something for everybody.
That's the whole idea, and I'm glad that that you feel the same way because I want it to be an approachable platform for people of all different levels, and that's why I'm trying to bring in now more beginner intermediate classes as well because we were lacking that on the library. So you'll see that there is more of that happening now. So yeah, and if anyone ever has questions about it, you could always message me on Instagram. It's Move with Kiana, and that is what the platform is called.
I also really like your entrepreneurial mindset because I really like the platform because I'm like, not only do I get to train with you or like how you train or what you're showing, teaching that, but I feel like I now have access to a bunch of like world-class names. Some of the guests you have on there, I'm like, oh my God, I want to learn too. So like kudos, like such a
Thank
good idea,
you.
so well executed. The platform is really user friendly on top of it. Kiana did not pay me to say any of this, by the way. I'm saying this because I've taken it. Yeah, really, really good job on like how you built it, the idea behind it, how you're managing it. You're doing really, really well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm so happy I did that because it really has given me like a lot more freedom.
Mhm.
And as someone that wants to be doing pole for the rest of my life, I can't always be teaching like every week so many hours. That is a recipe, in my opinion, for burnout. So having the online platform has helped me with reducing my workload, but also I'm still able to give a lot of just of my passion to people around the world. So I'm so happy with it, and I'm excited to see where it goes. And little shout out to my sister. My sister is my business partner. Her name is Alexa Walker, and she has helped me with this platform incredibly. She built it from the ground up and helps me to maintain it as well, and helps me with a lot of the video editing as well. So having a sister that I could just like really lean on has just been a godsend. And I know that a lot of people don't have that. So like I'm just really, really grateful that I have a sister that's like not only my best friend, but my business partner.
You said she helps you kind of build it from the ground up. Did she have a background in any of this? Did she just learn as you guys are building it? Like, how did that even come about?
So she has experience in web design, but she also, we both have the same background, which is communication studies. We did the same program. So, but she went a little bit more deep into web design as well as video production, where I didn't. I decided like after my degree, I went more into like just pole. But my sister actually builds websites for her brand, and she is a videographer and a photographer. Yeah. 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 But she specializes in movement, like in videotaping or videoing movement and photographing movement. So that's why us together, it's a really good combination.
That's an amazing combo because for people listening, I'm sure if you've done any like photo shoots or anything, picturing and video of pole is so hard, right? Like
hmm
so hard. And I feel like maybe regular photographers sometimes underestimate how much. So that just played out insanely well for you. Like, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
definitely.
And then I see like time flying by, and I want to touch up on one last aspect. Of things that you do in the pole world, and that is performing. You've
hmm
performed for Snoop Dogg and you've put on your own show, Cabaret. I want to touch up a little bit on that. How was it? Why did you want to put on your own show? And do you think you're going to do it again?
Great questions. So I was approaching my 30-year-old mark of being alive. And I thought to myself, okay, like what is something that I want to do when I turn 30 that is like that would really be a memorable night for me. And I've hosted, parties and I've done stuff like that and they're so much fun. But like I've done that before and I just wanted to do something different and I wanted to bring in pole. I've never ever had a birthday that incorporated pole. Usually it's like, oh, let's go to let's just have a party, you know what I mean? So this time I was like, okay, I want to bring in the pole world into my birthday. And I also have always wanted to put on a show. So I was like, okay, let's almost like let's trial out putting on a show on my 30th birthday because at the end of the day, even if it's just my friends and families that come, that's a success because we're just celebrating, and that was kind of where it came from. And then I had to think deeper about it, and I was like, okay, what do I want this show to? What's the mission of this show? And I'm a big believer of diversity and representation, and I was like, I want this to be a celebration of arts and diversity. So we're not just going to be bringing in pole, we're going to be bringing in burlesque, comedy, heels dance, um opera. I want to bring in a lot of different genres of art, or performance art, I should say. And then I also want there to be a very diverse lineup in regards to the people that are there, whether it's ethnicity or sexual orientation, gender. So I really built this lineup. Or curated this lineup with intention, and a lot of, oh, and of course, sorry, sex workers. I made sure to also make sure that there were a good amount of sex workers on the lineup as well. As we all know, pole dance comes from the strip club, so I also wanted to celebrate that as well. We actually did the show at Cafe Cleopatra, but we did it at the in the upstairs venue. So the upstairs venue is just like a space that is made for putting on shows. But Cafe Cleopatra is a historic strip club in Montreal. So there was a lot of thought that was put behind this show. It was a massive success. There was a wait list. We sold out, and I definitely want to do it again. It was so much fun. The only thing is that for me, I just when I do something, I want to always make sure that I'm fully in it. And this, I would love to do it this for next year again. It's just that there are some other projects or travels that are quite important to me that I'm going to be preparing for as well. And I just don't know if I'll have the capacity to do to be putting on a show and then also be doing these other things. So that's why I haven't committed to doing another show yet. It will happen again when the time is right. Right now, I just don't know when it will be. But a lot of people are asking, and yeah, I need to figure some things out first.
There's only one of you, right? There's only so
Yeah.
much one person can do, but amazing work. Thank you so much for making that so diverse and really putting the thought in and really kind of showcasing different people, different performance art. Like you posted a lot about it. I looked at
Mm,
everything. It was amazing. I loved your mom mafia wife energy. It was so good. And yeah, so for viewers, listeners, please do follow Kheanna. You are so active online and I love how much of your journey and so much of your project that you share with your audience.
thank you.
And yeah, really, really like just amazing work all around.
I just try my best to, like, also just show the reality of what I'm doing. Like I love my life. I love what I've built and I'm very proud of it. But like there's ups and there's downs, and that's what I try to always show. Like not everything is sunshine and rainbows, and it's just important to be real. I Yeah, when it comes to, for example, traveling, because that was something that we were just talking about before we were recording. Like I love how I'm always traveling, and I've seen so much of the world now, and I'm only 30 years old. And yes, I say it as if I'm still young. Just saying, a lot of people are like, oh, like there are some people with different mindsets, but I'm very happy that I'm 30 and I've seen so much of the world. But at the same time, there is some downsides to it as well. For example, I a lot of times I feel like a bit torn between two places. Feeling fully whole is a feeling that I have not felt in like 10 years, because now when I'm home, I'm thinking of all the other places that I've been to. When I'm abroad, I'm thinking about home. It's like this feeling of never fully, once again, feeling whole, and just all like it's just this feeling of sometimes being scattered, right? But it's still, I'm still grateful for it because travel is a huge passion of mine. So I'm getting to live out my passion of pole with travel. So there's good and bad to a lot of things, and at the end of the day, you just have to figure out what is it that will light you up, and what is it that when you're on your deathbed. What are you going to be like really happy that you did? And I know it could sound a bit traumatic, but like that is all I really want. I just want to be able to, when it comes to the end of my life, I'm like, fuck, I did everything I wanted to do. I don't want to have any regrets, you know? So that's why like if there's any, if there's ever anything that you're just really wanting to try, something that is also making you a bit scared, like take that risk because you never know what it's going to bring you.
Yeah, I love it. And I think your journey kind of shows that, right? You have taken risk and it really did pay off. And now you get to live off of something that really sets your soul on fire. And I hope that more people get to live that as well, right? All
Yeah,
right. I'm
same.
not gonna keep you on here for forever. Thank you so much for the generous time you are giving us. I want to bring you to our last segment, which we call the last grip. These are like easier questions just for fun to kind of finish on a good note. And I'm just gonna pull them up right now. All right, Kiana, are you ready for the last
I'm
grip?
ready. Let's do it.
I already know this answer. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Favorite song to dance to right now?
Oh gosh.
Uh-huh.
Groovy by Jameson.
Oh, I don't even know it. I'm gonna have to look it up. Okay, this is like a make it or break it question. Are you ready? Your
Oh
most
gosh.
loved pull outfit or accessory?
I guess what literally just wore at that performance, it's my pink CXIX set from Pole Junkie. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite outfits.
I thought you were gonna struggle more because I know how much gear you have. So I'm like, I thought you'd be like, I can't pick. I love that outfit.
Thank
Can you
you.
describe one word to describe your relationship with pole?
Ooh, fire.
Ooh, that's a good one. Spin or static?
Then
Choreo or tricks?
tricks.
Morning practice or evening practice?
Morning.
Not a lot of people answer morning.
I'm such a morning person. Well, don't talk to me in the evening because my brain just goes. I'm brain dead by 6 p.m. I don't know what happens, but
Love or hate conditioning?
love and hate. Is that okay? Love and hate. I love it because I know the value of it. Everyone should do conditioning, everyone.
Yep,
But
absolutely.
sometimes it really kicks my ass.
Can you tell us?
Shameless
Yep,
plug. If you want to do pull conditioning with me online, go do my recordings. And if you want to see me struggle, you will see it in my recordings. I do not edit them. I am dying right next to you. So just shameless plug.
I was gonna say I did one, but that was like a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I
And
was
I do it with you.
drenched.
Yeah.
Also for people listening and being like a little nervous, there was options. There was options given. I was drenched at like option one. So if you're higher level than I am and are great in conditioning, there is options for you. And if struggle bus is what you're on, there's also options for you that really took me out. That was great.
Amazing.
Can you tell us two or three of your favorite polars or people you really enjoy following that we should be made aware of?
One of my favorite polars right now is Jazz the Polar. She's just like I love her style and everything that she represents. She's in the States. And then one of my favorite baddies is Lorena Junipero. She is hardstyle based in south of France and also a good friend of mine.
That's amazing. And then I always finish with the two same question. Can you tell us your nemesis move or family of moves that you just don't enjoy as much?
Fuck armpit grip.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that whole family.
Love
Goodbye.
that. Love the honesty behind that. And then to finish on a positive note, can you
Yeah,
tell us
yeah.
your favorite move or your favorite family of move?
I love Dragon Tail. Dragon Tail is one of my favorites. It's one of
I
my
knew you were
signatures.
I knew you were gonna say that because I followed your master class
Yes,
and I feel like this is a favorite.
100%, 100%. But also just anything flexy. I'm a big lover of flexi tricks. So yeah, a lot of splitty moves are also my favorites. But if I had to give a family, it would be my Dragon Tail variations.
I love that. All right, and that is it for today. Thank you so much for being on. I will put Kheanna's platform link in the caption so everybody can give a follow and have a look. I will also put your Instagram handle in there. So make sure you give her a nice follow and support your pole artist. And thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you so much for having me. You're an amazing host, and
Thank
best of
you.
luck with the podcast. I know it's already doing great, but I'm just wishing you all the success.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us on Between the Poles. If you love this episode, be sure to hit follow and leave us a review. It helps more pole lovers find the show. And for exclusive bonus content, behind-the-scene footage, and extra pole goodness, follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, stay strong, stay connected, and keep spinning your story. This was Between the Poles.